In the heart of Rivertown, a school stood as a fortress of privilege and power, where the privileged few ruled with an iron fist. For Jaden Carter and his younger sister Amara, survival meant blending into the shadows, avoiding the spotlight that could expose them to the wrath of the untouchable bully, Ryan Mitchell. Ryan, the son of the town's police chief, wielded his father's name like a weapon, terrorizing anyone who dared to defy him. Jaden had learned the art of invisibility well. His mother worked tirelessly to keep a roof over their heads, often reminding him, "Keep your head down, baby. It's easier that way." But his grandfather, Elijah, a former boxer, instilled a different philosophy. A man can only be pushed so far before he has to push back. Jaden had always chosen the path of caution, but as the bullying escalated, he found himself at a crossroads. Amara, only 12, was still learning the unspoken rules of survival. When Ryan first targeted her with cruel words and shoves, Jaden had brushed it off, urging her to ignore it. But Ryan's harassment intensified, and Jaden could no longer stand by. One fateful afternoon, he found Amara cornered in an alley, her defiance shining through her fear as Ryan loomed over her, taunting her for being different. In that moment, Jaden's instincts kicked in. He rushed to her side, confronting Ryan with a calmness that belied the storm brewing inside him. "Let her go," he demanded, his grip on Ryan's wrist tightening. But Ryan merely laughed, mocking him for trying to play the hero. Jaden knew that striking back would mean more than just a fight. It would mean challenging the entire system that protected Ryan. As Jaden walked away, Ryan's laughter echoed in his ears, a reminder that the battle was far from over. That night, Jaden wrestled with his anger, replaying the events in his mind. Elijah noticed his turmoil and offered wisdom instead of judgment. "Bullies like Ryan don't stop until they're made to stop," he said, urging Jaden to be smart about his next move. 2 days later, after basketball practice, Jaden heard Amara's voice raised in anger. Rushing to the scene, he found Ryan once again tormenting her. This time, Jaden's resolve hardened. When Ryan shoved him, Jaden sidestepped the attack and retaliated with a controlled jab to Ryan's ribs. The shock on Ryan's face was priceless as he staggered back, realizing for the first time that he might not win this fight. But the victory was short-lived. The next day, Jaden was summoned to the principal's office, where he faced Principal Reynolds and Chief Anderson. The chief accused him of assault, ignoring the fact that Ryan had instigated the confrontation. Jaden's heart sank as he realized the system was rigged against him. He was suspended indefinitely, while Ryan faced no consequences. That night, Jaden sat on the porch, contemplating the weight of injustice. Elijah joined him, and they discussed the reality of their situation. "You're not the only kid Ryan's done this to," Elijah reminded him. The thought sparked a fire within Jaden. He wasn't alone. There were others who had suffered at Ryan's hands. Determined to take action, Jaden reached out to former victims of Ryan's bullying. By the next day, he had gathered a group of students who were ready to stand up against their oppressor. They met in secret, sharing their stories and planning their next steps. Jaden proposed going public, using their collective voices to expose Ryan's reign of terror. As they prepared to confront the school board, the tension in the gym was palpable. Students filled the bleachers, their whispers echoing the anticipation of what was to come. Jaden stood at the forefront, flanked by his allies, ready to reclaim their narrative. Principal Reynolds began the meeting, but Chief Anderson quickly interrupted, demanding Jaden's expulsion. The crowd erupted in outrage as Maya, Eric, and others spoke out against Ryan's past actions. Jaden seized the moment, pulling out his phone to play the video evidence of Ryan's bullying. The room fell silent as the footage revealed the truth. Ryan's facade crumbled as the crowd turned against him. For the first time, he was confronted with the consequences of his actions. Chief Anderson's authority waned as the school board recognized the need for accountability. "Ryan Mitchell is hereby suspended indefinitely," Reynolds declared, and the gym erupted in cheers. In that moment, Jaden felt the weight of oppression lift. He had not only fought back, he had united a community. As he looked around at the faces of his peers, he realized that they were no longer afraid. They had taken a stand, and together, they had changed the narrative. As the dust settled, Jaden found Elijah watching from the back of the gym, pride shining in his eyes. Jaden had learned that true strength lies not just in fighting back but in standing together against injustice. The fight for Rivertown was far from over, but they had taken the first step toward a brighter future. In the days following the school board meeting, Rivertown buzzed with a newfound energy. Students who had once walked the halls in fear now held their heads high, emboldened by Jaden's bravery. The whispers of Ryan's reign began to fade, replaced by conversations of unity and resilience. Jaden and Amara became symbols of hope for many. They organized meetings in the school library, where students shared their experiences and brainstormed ways to create a safer environment. The group, now dubbed the Rivertown Alliance, focused on raising awareness about bullying and advocating for change within the school. One afternoon, as they gathered in the library, Maya, a fierce advocate for justice, stood up. "We need to do more than just talk. We need to take action." Her eyes sparkled with determination. "Let's create a campaign to educate our peers about bullying and its effects. We can host workshops, create posters, and even start a social media movement." The room erupted in applause, and Jaden felt a surge of pride. They were no longer just victims. They were warriors fighting for their rights. They spent hours planning, designing flyers, and drafting social media posts that would spread their message far and wide. As the campaign launched, the response was overwhelming. Students began sharing their stories online, using the hashtag #StandWithRivertown. The movement gained traction, drawing attention from local news outlets. Jaden found himself being interviewed, sharing his journey and the importance of standing up against bullying, but not everyone was pleased. Ryan, humiliated and furious, plotted his revenge. He rallied his friends, Gavin and Mark, and together they devised a plan to undermine Jaden and the Alliance. They spread rumors, trying to paint Jaden as a troublemaker, but the community had changed. The students who once feared Ryan now stood united against him. One day, as Jaden walked home from school, he noticed a group of students gathered near the park. Curiosity piqued. He approached and found them watching a basketball game. Among the players was Eric, who had once been a target of Ryan's bullying. Jaden felt a swell of pride as he watched Eric confidently dribble the ball, laughing and joking with his teammates. "Hey, Jaden," Eric called out, waving him over. "Come join us. We're forming a new team and we need players." Jaden hesitated for a moment, but the warmth of camaraderie enveloped him. He joined the game, feeling the weight of the past lift with every dribble and shot. As the sun set, casting a golden hue over Rivertown, Jaden realized that the fight for justice was not just about confronting bullies, it was about building a community that supported one another. The Rivertown Alliance had sparked a change that went beyond the school walls, fostering friendships and solidarity among students who had once felt isolated. But Ryan was not done. He watched from the sidelines, seething with anger. He knew he had to act fast to regain control. One afternoon, he confronted Jaden in the school hallway, flanked by his loyal followers. "You think you can just take over? This is my school." Ryan sneered, his voice dripping with venom. Jaden stood tall, refusing to back down. "This isn't your school anymore, Ryan. We're not afraid of you. We're stronger together." The tension crackled in the air, and for a moment, it felt like the entire school was holding its breath. Ryan's face twisted in rage, but before he could respond, a chorus of voices erupted from behind Jaden. "Leave him alone, Ryan," Maya shouted, stepping forward. "You don't scare us anymore." One by one, students joined in, forming a united front against Ryan's intimidation. Realizing he was outnumbered, Ryan's bravado faltered. He turned on his heel and stormed away, leaving behind a wave of cheers and applause. Jaden felt a rush of exhilaration. They had stood their ground, and it felt empowering. As the weeks passed, the Rivertown Alliance continued to grow. They organized events, inviting guest speakers to share their experiences and educate their peers about the impact of bullying. Jaden and Amara became advocates for change, speaking at local community events and inspiring others to take a stand. One evening, as they prepared for a big presentation at the town hall, Jaden reflected on how far they had come. He remembered the fear that once gripped him and Amara, the feeling of helplessness in the face of Ryan's tyranny. But now, they were warriors, fighting not just for themselves but for every student who had ever felt powerless. The night of the presentation arrived, and the town hall was packed. Parents, teachers, and community members filled the seats, eager to hear the stories of resilience and hope. Jaden stood at the podium, his heart racing as he looked out at the crowd. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began, his voice steady. "We are here to share our stories, to shed light on the issue of bullying, and to show that together, we can create a safer, more inclusive environment for everyone." As he spoke, he felt the weight of his words resonate with the audience. He shared his journey, the struggles he and Amara faced, and the power of unity. The room was silent, captivated by his passion and determination. When he finished, the crowd erupted in applause. Jaden felt a surge of hope wash over him. They were not just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for a future where no one had to endure the pain of bullying. As the night came to a close, Jaden and Amara stood together, surrounded by their friends and supporters. They had transformed their pain into purpose, and together, they had ignited a movement that would change Rivertown forever. In that moment, Jaden realized that the fight for justice was not just about confronting bullies. It was about building a community that stood together, united in their strength and resilience. The battle was far from over, but they had taken the first step toward a brighter future, one where every voice mattered, and every story was heard.